Some 622 gray-clad patriots who fought and fell in the Civil War battles of Prairie Grove, Pea Ridge, and elsewhere around this corner of Arkansas lie together in a quiet grove on East Mountain. Their history is written on stones that mark their heads, on the statue that guards them in the rough, hewn rocks that surround them, and since 1872, when the effort to build a Confederate cemetery began, it has been women who have kept the memory alive.
I'm here today to honor these men and to remember and think about some of the suffering and everything that they went through, and to treat them as the heroes they really are.
And the Southern Memorial Association is a group of ladies and men now. Why is it so important for you to be here and help us honor these men?
Well, you know, these men, they gave the ultimate price. They sacrificed their lives for the cause they believed in, and it would take a special man to do that. A lot of people nowadays wouldn't do what they did, and just to remember, to try to remember some of the suffering and pain that they went through and everything. And if we forget our past, we're lost. We're destined to repeat it.
It's always been an honor to come out each year to honor these brave men that fought and died for the right cause. To remember these men, and we should never lose sight of what these men had fought for. And even today, you know, we need to keep that same spirit that these men had and fought and died to keep this country alive by using the same spirit that these men had. And that's the reason I come out here today, to honor these men, and because I have that same spirit that these men feel I had.
On June 6, 1872, a call to the ladies was printed in the Fayetteville Weekly Democrat, urging those interested in remembering the war between the state's Confederate dead to gather Monday, June 10th, at the Methodist Church on northeast corner of West Center and North Church Streets. At that meeting, the Southern Memorial Association of Washington County was formed. It illustrates clearly the mindset of the post-Civil War Southern woman, in that one of the first major concerns of the Southern Memorial Association was to make plans to have a fence built around the land they hoped to acquire to protect their loved ones even in death. As early as August of 1872, two ladies were named to solicit contributions of money, tools, supplies, and labor toward the building of an enclosure. It took that original handful of women almost a year, but on April 11th, 1873, a plot of 3 acres more or less on East Mountain was purchased from Charles W. and Serena Walker, appropriate and hollowed ground, since members of the Walker family were already at rest there. A Mr. J.D. Henry was employed by the ladies of the SMA to gather up all those dead who had been buried where they fell. For $1.40 each, Mr. Henry brought remains from Pea Ridge to the new Confederate Cemetery, put them in new coffins, and reburied them in plots set out at compass points of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Missouri. Those first graves were decorated and the cemetery was dedicated on June 10th, 1873. The original sandstone head and footboards, which were placed in 1876, gave way in 1903 to marble stones. Not all the identities of the soldiers buried on East Mountain were known. The stones of some say unknown, while others are bare of epitaph. Of those whose names were known, the first Arkansan interred at the Confederate Cemetery was a Lieutenant Pauley from Mac Rive's company. A Lieutenant Bliss of the Engineering Corps is the first Missouri soldier buried at the cemetery, and only T.H.D. marks the first grave in the Texas plot. Of the other Arkansans, some are remembered only by family names, others by their fighting units, still others by their homes. Pullman, Stanwady's Regiment, Doc Lewis, Cave Creek, Pope, Benton County, Hiriam Thornberry, Brooks Regiment, and a soldier known simply as Black. In 1885, work was begun to replace the wooden fence with the rough-hewn stone wall that still stands. It was completed in 1890. On Saturday, May 1st, 1897, in the presence of an enthusiastic multitude, the cornerstone monument was laid. Placed atop was a statue of a proud Confederate soldier to guard his fallen comrades. The monument cost $3,000, a huge sum at that time, but the ladies of the SMA worked diligently, raising the money $1 at a time. The monument was dedicated a month later, on June 10th, 1897, with these words inscribed on one face. These were men whom power could not corrupt, whom death could not terrify, whom defeat could not dishonor. A crowd conservatively estimated at 20,000, including University cadets in Confederate gray, formed a hollow square around the monument that Thursday afternoon and waited in silence for Lizzie Pollard of the SMA to unveil the statue. As the band struck up Dixie, strong men wept. The spot was forever hallowed by bone, blood, and tears. For many years, the most honored name on East Mountain was that of Brigadier General W.Y. Slack of Missouri, who was interred in the center of the compass at the convergence of the state plots on Thursday, May 27, 1880. Brigadier General Slack now rests at the base of the Missouri plot, his grave marked by this epitaph. In memory of W.Y. Slack, Brigadier General, son of John and Polly Caldwell Slack of Boone County, Missouri. Graduate of Missouri State University, captain in the Mexican War, fell at the Battle of Pea Ridge March 7, 1862, while leading his brigade of Missouri Confederate soldiers. Died March 21, 1862. Forever honored, forever mourned. Through the years, Southern women have kept the memory alive when no one else would. In 1926, a native brown stone arch was built to mark the entrance to the Confederate Cemetery. Decorated with iron gates and bronze tablets, plans were underway for classic reference to valor, sacrifice, and patriotism. Done in bronze and placed where eyes of all ages may spell out the devotion of today and the darlings of yesteryear. In 1947, the SMA approached the United States government, asking that it accept conveyance of the cemetery and provide for its care and maintenance. Toward the end, 2 bills were introduced into Congress by Senator J.W. Fulbright. Neither met the approval of the War Department, so women continued their work. The members of today's SMA are thankful that what seemed at the time like a setback has enabled us to own the cemetery outright and to care for it as we see fit without being under obligation to the government. In 1955, Scotch pines were planted and dedicated by Lieutenant Barry Weaver and Quartermaster Duval Fagan, members of the local Albert Pike Camp, Sons Confederate veterans. In the 1980s, a gazebo was built and the stone wall was repaired and partially rebuilt. On Saturday, June 8, 2002, after some 16 months, the monument and statue were fully restored and were rededicated at the 129th Annual Southern Memorial Day. It was truly a great day. There were about 100 people in attendance for the rededication of the statue and monument on a beautiful sunny morning. Guests were present from Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Louisiana, and Arkansas. Tribute speeches and gun salutes from Confederate reenactors were delivered to honor Confederate soldiers from each of the 4 states. Flowers and a wreath were placed at the monument according to the tradition begun by the founding ladies. Special bagpipe music was played as well as other songs and solos.
When another 100 years have passed, will the Confederate Cemetery on East Mountain still stand as a tangible reminder of the brave men who died for a way of life they held dear, and the proud women who loved and honored them? We officers of the SMA think the answer is yes. A revival of sorts occurred in the SMA in the late 1990s after a long period of apathy on the part of all but a few faithful members who kept the organization going. As of the year 2011, the SMA has a strong, involved membership of about 50 members. We think the future holds much promise, and we vow to continue the work started so long ago by the ladies of this county.